Good afternoon, everyone. If you learned something from the video, I would appreciate if you like and subscribe. So let's get straight into it. I told a friend that I was fasting, and he looked at me, and the first thing he said was, fasting, that's dangerous. You got to be careful if you fast, that's dangerous. And this isn't the first time I've heard this. But the reality of the situation is, he is at least 60 pounds overweight. And the reality of the situation is, it's more dangerous for him to continue eating the way he does than for him to go on a fast. Now, mind you, fasting, there is a correct way to fast and an incorrect way to fast. So when I talk about fast, I'm not talking about anorexia. I'm not talking about anorexia. I'm not talking about these gurus who sit down and don't eat anything and all they are is flesh and bones. That is dangerous. But even though that's dangerous, look how small you have to get before it becomes dangerous. Look how small you have to get from fasting before it becomes dangerous. You literally have to be skin and bones. So let's not confuse anorexia with fasting. On the metaphysical or spiritual level, fasting teaches you self-control. It teaches you self-control so that you can control your physical desires. Self-control to control your physical desires. Or to look at another way, to control your beastly desires. To control your beastly desires. And that's so important. Because one of the things that we want to do when we start talking about metaphysics and spirituality, we're talking about manifesting things in our lives. We are talking about manifesting things in our lives. And if you do not have a certain amount of self-control and you had the power to manifest things, what would you manifest? I mean, you have people who use their physical power to commit crimes. So God is not going to give physical powers or allow a person with no self-control to manifest things in their lives. Take, for instance, if a person is a crack addict or something. Well, what's he going to be manifesting? Crack? A person who's obese. What's he going to be manifesting? More food? That's not going to be healthy for him. That won't be healthy. So you have to have a modicum of self-control spiritually, metaphysically, to be able to manifest. Because God is not going to allow you to manifest anything that is harmful for you. I mean, people do enough of that physically. So on a spiritual level, that's why it's important that you exercise fasting. Because it is a way of self-control. So that if you do achieve the powers, you don't use them to hate people. You don't use them to get back at your enemies and things like that. And if you read the Bible, you will notice that when Yahshua gave spiritual powers to his disciples, he told them if someone hits you, to turn the other cheek. But he meant that because he gave them spiritual powers. That he said that to his disciples, not to the multitude. So what is the physical purpose of fasting? The physical purpose of fasting is to clean your system out, which is to regenerate your system, and it's also to lose unnecessary weight. Weight comes from fat, and fat is where viruses and diseases are in your body. They're in the fat cells. That's where they lodge until they're ready to come out. And what fasting does, it burns those fat cells, and it burns whatever viruses or diseases are within those fat cells. Because if you notice, one of the things that happens when a person gets sick, they lose weight. They stop eating. Why? Because their body is fasting to clean itself out and to regenerate. Now, when I'm talking about fasting, I'm not talking about anorexia. Let's get this straight. I'm talking about fasting, not anorexia. And another thing, most people can barely fast a day, let alone a week. So the whole idea that you're going to fast and die is slim and none. And the reality of the situation is, if you're overweight, then your body is going to use what? It's going to use the fat, which is supposed to be stored energy. Fat is stored energy. However, if you're eating ice cream, cake, foods that are no good for you, you're going to lose weight faster, because when your body goes to that fat and there's no energy and there's no nutrients in it, then it's going to burn quicker. It's going to burn much quicker. What fasting also does, it cleanses your colon. When done properly, it cleanses your colon. So now, how do we fast? Well, one way you can fast, you can use this. Hopefully you can see this, the Master Cleanser. It's a book called Master Cleanser. And what this book tells you to do is, I think it's like 10 ounces of water, and you put 2 tablespoons, 10 hours of clean water, not out the tap, 10 hours of good water, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup B, and then 1 tablespoon, and then 2 tablespoons of lemon juice or 2 tablespoons of lime juice, and then you can put a pinch of cayenne pepper in there. Myself, when I use the Master Cleanser, the water, and then I'll use 2 tablespoons of maple syrup B, dark. That's the dark, and it has to be organic. And I'll use 1 tablespoon of lemon juice and 1 tablespoon of lime juice, because I like lemon lime. And then I'll put a touch of cayenne pepper in there. Or if I feel, depends on the day, I will, on how I want to fast, I will use, instead of that, I'll eat a piece of fruit. I'll eat a piece of fruit, because fruit will clean my system out, and it will allow my digestive system to stay active. And I eat a piece of fruit every other day. I may alternate. One day with the Master Cleanser, then the next day I'll eat a piece of fruit, but always increase your water intake. You have to increase your water intake for your body to function, for your body to cleanse itself. We all know you need water to cleanse yourself, and we all know that fruit cleanses you out too. And the maple syrup B will give you all the nutrients and vitamins that your body needs, which should be in the fat cells if you are eating properly. But most people aren't. And so, and the purpose and what this does, especially the piece of fruit, will always clean, an apple will always clean your system out. An apple or an orange, organic, will clean your system out. so that it stays, because you want it to keep it functional. You don't want your digestive system to just totally stop. You just want it moving at a more relaxed pace, a more relaxed pace. So with that, I don't think there's anything else I can add to that. I told you about the Master Cleanser. So that's the book. I think it costs about $1 or $2. You can usually get it at Whole Foods or someplace like that. And with that, have a great day. Like and subscribe if you've learned something.